Oversaving. You've got money sitting in a savings account, maybe a few thousand, maybe a lot more. And every time you check the balance, it feels good, safe, responsible. You were told your whole life to save, so you let it sit there, untouched, growing slowly, waiting for something. But here's what's actually happening while you feel responsible. That money isn't sitting still, it's shrinking. Every year, inflation quietly raises the price of everything, your groceries, your rent, your future, by 2, 3, sometimes more %, and your savings account is paying you almost nothing. So the number on the screen stays the same, but what it can actually buy gets smaller every single month. You think you're holding on to your money. You're watching it evaporate in slow motion. A little cash for emergencies is smart. 3 to 6 months of expenses you can reach fast. But everything beyond that, sitting idle, isn't safety. It's a slow, silent loss you agreed to without realizing it. Saving feels like the responsible thing, but money that isn't growing is money that's dying. You're just not watching it happen. Buying cheap. You're standing in the store, 2 versions of the same thing in front of you. One costs more, one costs less, and you reach for the cheaper one, because why pay extra when you don't have to? It feels disciplined, frugal. But here's what's actually happening. You didn't buy the cheaper thing. You bought the thing that breaks first. The cheap shoes wear through in a season. The cheap charger dies in a month. The cheap appliance quits the week after the warranty does. So you go back and buy it again, and maybe again after that. That $20 thing you were so proud of, you've now paid for it 3 times over, and the $60 version you skipped would have outlasted all of them. This is the strange tax of being careful with money. The less you can afford to spend up front, the more you end up spending in total. Cheap things don't last, and things that don't last drain you quietly, one replacement at a time. Sometimes cheap is fine, for what you'll use once and throw away. But for anything you depend on every day, the cheapest option is almost never the cheapest. Buying cheap feels like saving money, but cheap isn't a price you pay once. It's a price you keep paying. Hunting deals. You never pay full price if you can help it. You've got the coupon codes, the abandoned cart waiting for the discount email, and when you land it, 40% off, free shipping, you feel that little jolt of victory. You outsmarted the system. But here's what's actually happening. That discount didn't save you money. It made you spend it. You weren't going to buy that thing until it went on sale. The deal didn't reward your decision. It made the decision for you. And the stores know it. The crossed out price, the countdown timer, the "you saved $40" on the receipt, all engineered so spending feels like earning. You walked out having saved 40 by spending 60 you'd otherwise have kept. And even when you do need it, look at the cost. Hours spent shaving off a few dollars, hours that, aimed at your income, would move real money. Comparing prices on something big is smart, but the daily hunt for discounts isn't saving. It's a slow leak you've been taught to celebrate. Chasing deals feels like saving money, but a discount was never money saved. It was money spent, dressed up to feel like a win. Treat yourself. It's been a long week, so you order the $8 latte instead of the office coffee. You let the delivery app handle dinner because cooking feels like too much. You check out the cart that's been sitting open in your browser for days. And why not? You work hard. You earned it. Taking care of yourself is healthy, responsible even. But here's what's actually happening. Every treat you give yourself quietly becomes the new normal. The $8 latte isn't a reward anymore. It's just what coffee costs now. The delivery habit isn't a treat, it's a line item. This is lifestyle creep, and it's the reason a raise never seems to make you richer. Your income climbs, your treats rise to swallow it, and you end up earning more while feeling exactly as broke. The cruelest part is the label. Because you called it self-care, you never question it, and guilt-free spending is the kind that does the most damage. Enjoying your money isn't the problem. Joy is the whole point of having it. The trap isn't the treat, it's that the treat never ends. Treating yourself feels like enjoying your money. But when every treat becomes the new normal, you're not rewarding yourself. You're just quietly raising the price of being you. Playing it safe. You keep your money where you can see it, in the bank, in cash, somewhere it can't drop. The stock market feels like gambling. You've heard the stories of people who lost everything, and you're not about to be one of them. So you stay out and you protect what you have. It feels careful, responsible. But here's what's actually happening. By avoiding the risk you can see, you've accepted the one you can't. A market dip is loud, scary, and temporary. Inflation is silent, boring, and guaranteed. And while you're busy avoiding the first, the second drains you every single year. And it's not just the loss, it's everything you never gained. Money left in cash for decades barely moves. That same money, invested and left alone, has historically grown into many times what you started with. The fear isn't stupid. Markets do fall, and over a year or two that hurts. But over the decades your money actually has to last, sitting it all out has been the costlier mistake. Because there is no standing still. Your money is always either growing or shrinking. Safe isn't a third option. Playing it safe feels like avoiding risk, but staying in cash was never the safe bet. It's just the one that loses quietly, a little every year. Waiting to start. You're going to get serious about your money soon. Once you're earning a little more, once the debt's paid off, once life finally settles down. Right now, the amounts feel too small to bother with. What's $50 a month really going to do? So you wait for the real moment, the one where it actually counts. It feels responsible. You don't want to start half-ready. But here's what's actually happening. The thing that grows money isn't the size of what you put in, it's the time it gets to grow. And every month you wait to begin, you're not saving that decision for later, with they're throwing away its most valuable part. Money needs years, not dollars. Someone who starts in their 20s with a little ends up ahead of someone who starts in their 40s with a lot. Not by a little, by a mile. Because the early money has the most time to multiply. That first decade does the heaviest lifting, and it's exactly the one you're giving away. It's true that $50 doesn't feel like wealth, but it was never about the 50. It's about the years that 50 gets to grow. Waiting to start feels responsible, but you can always earn more money. You can never earn back the years you waited. Budgeting to the penny. You track everything, the spreadsheet, the app, every coffee logged, every category balanced to zero. You know exactly where every dollar went. You canceled the forgotten subscriptions, switched to the cheaper brand, shaved down the grocery bill. By every definition, you're disciplined, responsible. But here's what's actually happening. You've poured all your energy into one side of the equation, what goes out, and almost none into the other, what comes in. You can perfect your spending forever and still stay stuck because you're optimizing a number that can only shrink so far. There's a floor to budgeting. You can't spend less than nothing. Cut everything you can and you'll save a few hundred a month. Then you hit a wall. Income has no such wall. A raise, a new skill, a little earned on the side can add more in 1 month than a year of penny pinching ever will. You chose the budget because cutting is easy to see and fully in your control, while earning more is slow and scary. So you picked the comfortable battle instead of the one that matters. Knowing where your money goes is smart, but past a point, more budgeting isn't more discipline. It's just a way to feel productive without doing the hard thing. Budgeting to the penny feels like control, but there's a floor to how little you can spend, and no ceiling on what you can earn, and you've spent all your time staring at the floor. Over-insuring. You're at the checkout and the screen asks, "Protect your purchase for just a few dollars more?" And you say yes. The extended warranty on the laptop, the protection plan on the phone, coverage on the appliance, the headphones, the $40 gadget. You don't want to get caught out, so you cover it, all of it. It feels careful, prudent, the responsible thing. Better safe than sorry. But here's what's actually happening. You're paying someone to take a risk you could easily take yourself. The company selling that warranty isn't doing you a favor. They ran the numbers and they know that across everyone who buys it, they'll collect far more than they ever pay out. That's the entire business. If these plans were a good deal for you, they wouldn't exist. Insurance makes sense for one thing, a loss big enough to wreck you. Your home, your health, your life if people depend on you. That's a risk you genuinely can't absorb. But a $200 phone? You can absorb that. Paying to protect it just hands over real money to dodge a loss you'd barely feel. And the one time it pays out feels like proof you were right, while you quietly forget the dozen times it didn't. Covering the catastrophic stuff is smart. Insuring the small stuff isn't caution, it's a cost you volunteered for. Over-insuring feels like protecting yourself. But the loss you're afraid of was never the real cost. The steady premiums you pay to avoid it are.